The great debate did not disappoint. I'm JP, this is Truth Probe. Welcome in. Some are calling it the debate of the year, some the debate of the century. Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson squared off, and it was something to see. Hopefully you had a chance to watch it, either live or on the replay, but it was amazing. There was a lot of good points that were made, lots of mistakes, and everybody has an opinion on this. Either you love Andrew or you love Candace. There don't seem to be a lot of people that are in the middle. But today we're going to go through it kind of play by play. We're going to talk about people's reaction on X and go through the actual debate itself and talk about it in depth. Let's get right into it. We're going to point out, first of all, that Andrew made a huge mistake in this. And it was towards the end of the debate. So we're kind of going out of order a little bit here. But he could not name one single charge that was being brought up against Tyler Robinson by the state. Not one. He took a wild guess in a desperate attempt and he said murder, but that's obviously was a guess because he didn't know the exact charge and he couldn't have named another charge if his life depended on it. So I don't understand how he can get into a debate like this and not even know the basics of the topic. And the topic was Tyler Robinson and is there enough evidence to convict him? How is Candace coming to her conclusions? And she was there to defend herself. And so it was a lot of back and forth. There's speculation that Andrew was there to represent TPUSA and Erica Kirk. He denies it vehemently. Candace brought that up many times throughout the debate. I don't know if he can convince anybody of anything, but he does have a lot of supporters. He has a lot of followers. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out in history. And when we look back on this and kind of take a look at who we think won or who lost. But let's take a look at that moment when he just couldn't come up with one single charge that was brought against Tyler Robinson by the state. Let's take a listen to this.
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah, can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course, but I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
That's the question. You're just not following it enough.
It seems pretty like if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should. Like, right. Can you tell me one?
Then let's do the counter. You can really. Hang on, this is a great gotcha.
No. You just got to ask me, play clips out of context, put me in the hot seat. So please just answer the question.
This is fair. Name all 7 since you've been following the case.
Okay, sure. You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like
name all 7.
And I
can you name all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to.
Do it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
You don't have to put your fingers up.
Okay, hang on. Name them.
Yeah, sure.
Name them.
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries a death sentence in the state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so just for people, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined and because it carries a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay,
You're just going to recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work. And you'll be better the next time you debate someone.
I got it. Give me the other ones.
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that people don't walk away?
No, I just want you to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. You just don't get to pretend that there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
Because I'm speaking. You just got to...
It sounds like you're just delaying it because you don't know them.
I know all 7 of them.
Then
and I'm going to say
them.
again, because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I actually am under no time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering. And
what's the specific charges, though?
That is them. Obstruction of justice, witness tampering.
Okay, and there's no other specifics to them.
Well, I can tell you why he's being charged.
No, just the charges and then 7?
Yeah, see, the bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Okay.
And that is 100% correct. So I know the clip was a little bit long, but it's important because a lot of things just happened right there. A lot. Andrew is flailing around. He is literally desperate because he thought he had a gotcha moment, and it turned out that the gotcha moment was against him. He was the one that couldn't even name a single charge that was brought against Andrew, and Candace went and named all 7 of them. No problem. This is the difference. And, I took notes when I was kind of watching this debate earlier, and it was kind of it was like 3 or 4 pages worth of notes. I was writing one sentence at a time, just thoughts that were popping into my head. And throughout this whole thing, two different times, I wrote on here, Andrew does not know this case. The first time I wrote, Andrew doesn't know the case. The second time I wrote, same thing, Andrew does not know this case. So yeah, it was kind of a recurring thing in my head as I was watching it, but he didn't, and he was definitely flailing around. Now, after this, he went into full-blown panic mode and just started bombing Candace with other things that they had already talked about, trying to drag it on and make us all forget about what we just witnessed. This was truly embarrassing, and I don't know how TPUSA feels about all this, but I can't imagine that they're happy right now. But let's take a listen to the first part of the debate, and just go over some of the major points of that. Everyone knows by now that PBD was moderating the debate, so he did a pretty good job, and he kept quiet for the most part. And during the first hour, not a lot of people know this, but there was actually a contract between them that they agreed upon. And I think in that contract it said that the first hour of this was going to be a back and forth between Andrew and Candace, moderated by PBD. And then I think the second hour was supposed to be kind of an open conversation between all 3 of them, because I noticed that PBD was jumping in there a lot, and I didn't really understand why. And I think that was it. Because I was like, why does it seem like it's 2 against 1? It seems like both of them were asking questions to Candace, and Candace was just batting them back. Every time they lobbed a question at her, she would bat it back to them. But then I heard that part about there being a contract, and then it made more sense to me. I'll let you take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, can I ask a question? I know it's been, or like, can I ask a question? Or are we
not really? I'm just gonna.
Okay.
We're going to hold to the actual contract itself.
The contract does not say that you are allowed to just question me without me being able to respond to you.
I've never.
So they're talking about a contract, and so nobody really knew what that meant, but that's what that was. And so it was kind of structured that way. So it was the first part was the back and forth. The second part was an open discussion type of thing. And then the third part was Andrew cross-examining Candace. So it was like almost an hour, I think, of that. And so it was like Andrew was asking all the questions, and it seemed like he was just peppering her with questions, and she was coming back, with, can I respond? Can I respond? After the incident where he couldn't name a single charge that was brought up against Tyler, he pretty much lost it. He just started going into these long rants and asking the same questions over and over that he had already asked. And and I think it was because he didn't want to end on that really bad note. Let me know what you guys think. If you watched it, let me know your comments and let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. But that's kind of what I saw. So we'll get into the actual debate now. Andrew had said before that there should not be any ad hominem attacks. And in his opening statement, which he read, by the way, I don't have a huge problem with him reading his opening statement because he's actually a pretty good orator. So I just said, fine. Again, I'm thinking to myself, if he really knew this case, he wouldn't have to read it. But he did. And he was talking about ad hominem attacks before. And then he's the one that brings up the dreams, mocking Candace and the fact that she said she had a dream about certain things. Let's take a listen to that.
No, he didn't come to me a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. And
so he's just making fun of her there. By his own rules, if that's an ad hominem attack, he should have lost the debate right there. It should have been a forfeit. But of course, that's a ridiculous rule. But he violated his own rule. Candace didn't pull any punches like that, not that I saw. In this part, he also revealed a text message by Charlie that supposedly was new, and I'll let you listen to that part.
I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. Whatever could he have meant by that? Well,
Okay, so that's the message, and he wouldn't share it with anyone, but he did read it to everyone during this debate. That was new. Let me know your thoughts on that part. Andrew also said in the beginning, PBD asked both of them in the beginning what their percentage of certainty was, and Andrew said that his certainty of Tyler Robinson being guilty was 75 to 85%. That he was 75 to 85% certain that Tyler Robinson was guilty. Candace, on the other hand, said zero. She's 0% convinced that Tyler is guilty of the charges they brought against him. Now, he might still be involved somehow, but she said 0% that he did this all by himself, is what she was saying. Take a listen.
Just out of curiosity, are you, between 0 to 100, what is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
based on the evidence right now, I don't know, I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only, that maybe somebody was behind him as a patsy influencing him, you're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right.
I
would, if you said, was he involved that day, as
Right.
I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any?
0%. Yeah. So that's, I think that's how a lot of people feel. Now, Andrew made some very good points in the beginning. In the first 30, 40 minutes or so, he seemed like he was holding his own, and the issue of the dust and the debris inside the barrel of the gun came up, and he sounded pretty accurate, pretty convincing, I guess. I'll let you take a listen to that part.
2 points.
Debris.
I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5 plus actually by the end of the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer a science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5 plus prints, and among those 5 plus prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah. So let's get into all 3 of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing a rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
That's a good point. And so I thought he made a good point there. So I thought he held his own pretty good on that point, pretty well. And let's keep listening.
I think there could be debris and dust.
Yeah.
He just fired the weapon.
Sure.
Okay.
Not only that, he left it in a forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area, it's also possible that debris could get in that way.
Yeah, so good points, all good points. Definitely good for a debate. Also, they talked about Tyler Robinson's DNA on there, and I'll let you listen to that real quick.
On the print front, but Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the testimony, hold on. First, let's go to your first point, because that's wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you mean we don't know until it goes to trial about the degraded prints? She testified, and this is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but the problem is that inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more of the DNA analysis during the trial, right?
But you also would agree that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded. So I'm asking...
Okay, so they go back and forth on this. In the DNA, maybe there will be new evidence in the trial, in the actual trial, I don't know. Andrew's point on that first part where Lance Twiggs' DNA being found on the rifle, he said that's not true, and it's never been found on the rifle, and that was fact-checked to be true. So Andrew was right on that it wasn't stated that Lance Twiggs' DNA was found on that rifle, even though it might have been on the rifle. We won't know that until the trial, I guess. Hopefully, we'll know that. They got into the issue of hearsay, which was a big, big deal. And trying to convince Andrew that this was mostly a hearsay trial was very hard. He was not having any of it. Let's listen in on parts of it here, see if we can kind of go through the main points
know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means, is that the entire hearing was hearsay. It means none of that information that was presented is going to be allowed. The majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, is not going to be allowed at the trial. They're allowed to present when it's just a probative hearing.
I don't think all the evidence that was put in was hearsay.
Okay, you didn't watch this case.
But not only that, no.
This is a huge point.
It was most of the evidence. It wasn't 100% of it, but it was most of the evidence. They continued back and forth and talked about hearsay in the 1102 rule, which is part of Utah's state courts that say that they can use hearsay, reliable hearsay, in a prelim trial only. They can't use it in the actual trial unless there's some exceptions to that, but for the most part they can't.
Don't have to.
But no, that's why the entire hearing was basically hearsay. Officer Bagley
but
was
not
saying,
all of it, like I said.
The overwhelming majority.
Again, no dispute.
Outside of the one that you don't want to give. Please don't cut me off.
Though.
Outside of that is what's in dispute. It means that your entire brand of saying you don't have evidence, falls apart when the entire preliminary hearing is based off of hearsay. In fact, Lance's testimony before they had about an hour debate. Actually, maybe it was more than an hour debate before he sat, and they said, this is not going to be allowed. You wouldn't even be allowed to do this. We'd be able to cross-examine him. The questions that they're asking Lance are all leading. And what did he say? Well, I'm the magistrate under Utah Constitution, 1102. It is my job to allow all of this so we can see if the state has enough here that we can then move to a trial, which will then...
Yeah, that's it. And so it's definitely frustrating. And I said this in my last video. I don't understand why they're using all this hearsay evidence. They're just going to have to start over in the actual trial unless they're banking on the fact that he's not going to make it to the trial. Is it possible? What do you guys think about that? Are they just like not worried about it because he's not going to make it anyway? Or is there something else going on here? I mean, to allow this much hearsay to me is just unbelievable. Let's keep listening.
Just so everybody who's watching this at home understands what I'm saying, even if he doesn't. What Andrew is arguing is that I don't have the right to extrapolate from a fact like...
Just making it up. Just purely making it up.
He's just talking over. He's such terrible, immature tactics that he's using on this. It doesn't even make it worthy of being in a debate, I don't think. It's just so childish. I don't understand it.
I'm asking based on
Andrew, can I show my evidence? You just showed yours. Reliable hearsay.
You'll get a chance.
Reliable hearsay in criminal preliminary examinations. The entire preliminary hearing that you just saw was on the basis of reliable hearsay. And what that means essentially is the people who are making the statements can just say, Patrick told me that he did this on Monday. Patrick's not here. And that is... They can allow that into the hearing. That's
right. That's exactly right. And they continue talking about this for a while. And Andrew was trying to figure out how she was getting from point A to point B when it came to inferring that Tyler Robinson was a patsy, not based on what the state was saying or the state's evidence, but based on what she saw and her opinion of how he got from point A to point B. So it's definitely confusing. But that's what he was trying to say. Let's just keep listening.
He is using to argue his case is all based on inference, not fact.
Great.
Inference, not fact. So what they are inferring off of the facts.
So again, we're going to take this, and I'm just going to even grant it because it's irrelevant. I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
Okay, so she doesn't quite understand what he's asking, but eventually it does click and it all comes together. Let's keep listening.
So when that never happened. You're just making stuff up. So anyway, when we're talking about logical inferences, what I'm looking for is the logical inferences that you have that Tyler Robinson's a patsy based on the totality of evidence that you have.
We can keep going through your other evidence, but we should find his tweet where he lists the reasons that he was convinced.
So let's start with the 30-06. I think that's fine.
Your team's looking for, do you remember how long ago that was?
The tweet of the
tweet. Yeah, I can find the tweet here. So reading from the beginning of the tweet.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Well, just so we're clear, you did.
But that's not an exhaustive list, he says. So there's more, I guess, than just that. So this kind of went back and forth again, and then...
Are you...
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to the evidence
if you're
itself.
okay.
Yes,
Actually, I'm glad you're asserting that you're okay. I wasn't worried about your health. I'm just saying that I just said you tweeted this. You said, no, I didn't. We got a fact check.
to give you an idea, the back and forth there. And finally...
Going to ask me about?
Well, we're addressing your claim that the evidence is overwhelming, and this is a tweet where you listed what you felt was overwhelming. I think that's fair.
But not
right? I feel like that's fair.
But not exhaustive, just so you know.
I never said it was exhaustive, even though you said I did.
Sure, whatever you want.
But yeah, so going back to that, all of that, as you say to me, well, Candace, why are you addressing and making inferences off of the testimony?
No, I never asked you why. You're making inferences. I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay, so I would like to know how you got to the conclusion. And I'm just going to throw it right back at you because for some reason you permit yourself to do it. And that's what I'm demonstrating is that you permit yourself to do it. And then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy, right?
No.
How are you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah, so in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, because, I mean, we'll just use this. If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you make everybody, you call them conspiracy
theorists. That's literally what I'm trying to explain to you.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference why I think it's Tyler Robinson, is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say.
I would. I'm sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. They do pull that up and they find where Tyler did text. Apparently, one of the texts said that, you might recognize me in the security footage or something to that effect. And it was kind of fact checked, I think, and in that part. Let's see. Let's take a listen to that.
Staircase. I think that. I
didn't say that. I said I literally didn't. What I said is that he texted over, you'll be able to see me in footage at UVU. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Yeah, could we get a fact check on that? The second thing you said was...
Yeah, they did. They got a fact check, and that was proven to be right. So Andrew got that one.
Lance's testimony and actually what Lance says is, I'm not 100%.
I agree.
But in terms of what he wears, again, me pointing out the absurdity, he wears...
And she's talking about when Lance was IDing his supposed boyfriend and using tennis shoes to ID him, which is really weird. Converse tennis shoes on a college campus. Okay, and they do go into a break there. Now, I'm not going to cover any more today. I'm going to save the rest for Monday's video, or possibly I'll do one over the weekend. But I don't want this video to get too long, and there's so much that happened in this thing. I'll probably be breaking this down for a long time, and I think a lot of people will. But obviously, you can see the tactics that Andrew was using, and Candace was coming at this. I believe, she knew what she was in for. She knew it was going to be a fight, and that she was going to have to get past his word games and his mind games that he uses. And I think she did a really good job on that. Now, I think that it was pretty even in the beginning. And then I think it shifted over to Candace because it was clear and obvious that Andrew did not know the substance of this case or this debate. He just didn't. You can't tell me if he doesn't even know the one charge that's being brought up against Tyler. That to me is so huge. I'm not surprised because he strikes me as the type of person that says, I can debate both sides of anything. I don't need to do my homework too much on this. I mean, I think I know the broad points and I can get by. But, this is just so basic. I really do want to know what you guys think about this so far and just how I've broken it down so far. And I want to get your opinions on who you think won, and was that the person that you were backing in the beginning? I'd love to hear those thoughts. And I'm going to start reading comments from this one. I won't read comments from the last show that we did because the debate hadn't happened yet. So I want to wait until to get your feedback from this. So if you can leave me a comment, that would be great, and let me know your thoughts. Also, like and subscribe if you liked the video, and if you need to reach me on X, would be great, at jptruthprobe, or email me at jptruthprobe@gmail.com. I appreciate everyone being here, and I will see you all on Monday. You have a great day, and thanks for watching.